like that.
I'm gonna be laughing the whole time now.
You're gonna make her laugh the whole
Now I'm
time.
gonna be giggling for no reason. So
What
good
is
luck
your
with that.
name? Giggles all day.
And we're live. We're good.
Nice. That's episode 377 of the show radio. Daniela, you ready?
I'm ready. Tracy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Nice. All right, so let's start. Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for downloading episode 377 of the show radio. I'm your host, Andrew.
Hey guys, I'm Danny.
And this is your source for tech, gaming, and entertainment news. Head over to theshowradio.info. Once again, that's theshowradio.info. And check out our past shows. While you're there, subscribe and tell a friend about the show. Definitely the podcasting, about us, all that information will be on the website. And also, we just launched, or somewhat relaunched, our Patreon. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But special guest today, Daniela, I guess you could do the honors.
Yeah,
for sure.
The incredibly wonderful and super supportive Tracy, also known as Oh Hey Tracy, which I really love her name. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm gonna be laughing for zero reason right now, just because I'm just unusually nervous, and I'm just gonna say hi everybody in chat because I see a lot of my friends in there.
Nice.
Okay, I was so busy trying to get things up and running, and there's like two things I have to comment. I didn't know that you were using a unicorn beanie. And two, is that a hamburger plushie pillow behind you?
Yes, it is a giant hamburger. It's the comfiest hamburger in the world. It's from Squishables, and I love it. I kind of am like a giant child, and I sleep with that giant hamburger all the time.
I would too. I don't blame you.
As you can see all of like my stuffed animals.
Oh, I have to hide mine because usually they're on my bed, but then I don't want people to be like, my God, you're 33. Why do you have so many plushies?
I just have them tossed around for no reason.
Okay, so I'm going to hand it off to Andrew. You asked the questions because you said that you weren't going to be easy. I want to be the nice one.
You want to be a nice one? I mean, we can start with...
Everyone can be the nice one. I'd love that.
So let's start with this. Where were you raised? I guess give me a little bit of background of who Tracy is. We can start there.
I was raised here in New York. I'm from Queens, and I just always was here, grew up here, hang around the city, one of those people.
Okay, so you're going to give me short answers? Because we already had this conversation.
I knew you were going to do this. What? Like, I'm from New York. What do you want?
Okay, so what about growing up in Queens? So tell me a little about, give me some stories with that. Share some stories with us.
I see Manny trying to make fun of me in chat. I see you. It was pretty just like a lot of me being a tomboy little art kid running around my Hot Topic gear for a while there. The opposite of anything fashion loving. I was kind of like the standout one here, being one of those Queen Center Mall kids that never left, never did anything but hung out there being a loser.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I did those things.
Think about it. The mall kids, like, they're not the most exciting people sitting around the mall all day. We just thought we were cool.
Okay, so how did you get involved in art?
I got involved in art because I used to submit like Barney and Spice Girl fan art to their PO boxes. And that's how I got started. I would just kind of like doodle Spice Girl art for hours for no reason and send in like my really weird Barney art and all that stuff. And I feel like it was all terrible, but it got me really into it all.
Okay, so how long were you doing that for?
I started that when I was younger, and then through high school, I kind of was an art major. I just studied art mostly, and then probably up until college before I switched over to fashion and stuck to that.
Okay, so while you were doing art, did you do like the gallery stuff, showcasing and any of that stuff world?
It was a lot of like just fine art stuff in school and me doodling weird girls on my ride to and from anywhere I go. I still do that. I have like a collection of weird girls I draw on my long train rides to Manhattan for work. So it was always like not the most like very structured classic art, just a lot of me doodling weird stuff that pops up in my head.
Okay, all right. So give me a picture. Riding the train while drawing. How are you doing that? How are you balancing that? Because that train is pretty intense. So what are you using to draw? and how are you making
It
that?
looks as ridiculous as you would think, honestly, because what I do is I don't really plan to draw these things. I usually just always have a notebook on me, but I don't have coloring things. So what I do is I use all of my makeup that I keep in my beauty bag. And after I just sketch quick things out with my pen, I colored in with my eyeshadows and all that stuff. It
Okay.
just became a habit that I got used to. It got kind of fun, actually. Like it was easier to blend and do cool things with the colors when I colored everything in with my makeup.
Okay, so tell me more. So how often are you drawing on the train stuff? How often is that happening?
Well, it used to be going to work took me like almost 2 hours every day to and from. So I would spend a couple hours a day drawing those there. And then whatever didn't look ridiculous, I just throw it up on my Instagram or something that if it wasn't something that made no sense.
Okay, and where are you drawing your inspiration from when you're drawing these days?
My inspiration, oh my gosh, anime. I am the biggest anime nerd in the world. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that to you before. A
You
lot of
did.
the
So I'm gonna
inspiration is
ask you.
me
I'm gonna ask
laying
you about that.
around watching anime, and I will just see something that looks interesting to me and decide I'm gonna draw something weird that's inspired by it. Like I do a lot of Sailor Scouts because I love magical girls and Sailor Moon and stuff. So you'll see a lot of magical girls and weird villains because I love villains.
Okay, so what anime are you watching besides those two?
Oh my
Those two
God, right now,
genres?
this
Yeah.
season, I'm watching a lot. I'm watching a yokai apartment. I'm watching a lot of there's like not a lot of magical girl ones this season. I wish there were because I'm obsessed with anything to do with magical girls, but there's also like what is it? Zodiac Wars has been really good. That one's been amazing. It's just a lot of action. This is the season of gore, is what I've been telling my friends. It's the season where everything is just a lot of gory fighting action everywhere.
Okay,
But
so
it's been fun.
is anime predictable based on what they're going to release? Is it still like 23 episodes,
Well,
23 minutes kind of
it really
thing?
depends on the show. They have a structure where there's seasons for everything that gets released, but some things kind of extend onto the next season. So it really depends. You usually look up to see how long it's going to be. It could be anywhere from 13 to 23 to some of them will just go on for the whole year. So you really kind of just, it's a throw up depending on what you're going to watch.
Okay, so the last thing I'm going to ask before I hand it off to Daniela, and we'll probably come back to some more stuff, is the anime genres, are they clear cut as far as their distinction for what you want to watch? Like if I want to watch like the high school stuff or the racing stuff, is it as clear cut as it is for like the movie genres, or are there spin-offs or they overlap?
There's a few that overlap. For the most part, though, you're going to get exactly what the genre tells you. There's the like action for boys ones, there's magical girls, there's racing, there's sport animes, there's slice of life, which is basically just animes kind of going through regular everyday life things. I don't see the appeal to watching people do the same thing I do all day, but whatever. There's a lot of supernatural ones. It usually will give you a rundown of what they are, and I really gravitate towards anything with a kick butt girl. Anything with a girl that will just really go nuts and be the girl power person I love. That's what I'm going to watch.
Very cool. Daniela?
So,
Be
have
easy.
you watched LA No not LA Noir, but it's called Noir.
Noir.
It's
I feel like I've watched a little bit about that a while ago though.
because you're
I'm
talking
kind of
about
used to
strong females. It's like about two female assassins.
I've seen it. I go kind of by season, so it hasn't been out for a while. So if I watched it, it was a long time ago. I realized the other day I've watched so much animes I see on my Facebook messages that are like, your memories here, stuff I forgot I ever watched. I'm like, oh my God, I did love that show like 5 years ago.
Because I watch a whole bunch of anime, so we might have to like swap because I'm looking for some new ones to play catch up on. And I don't really have a preference of genre. I just like whatever's good. Whatever's
My
action
friends
packed.
make fun of me. I'm a magical girl person. If there's a magical girl in there, I'm gonna watch it all day long. I have
Yeah.
watched a ridiculous amount, and some of them are just so childlike. I'm still in it.
Okay, so questions. Um, favorite makeup brand? Because you're talking about how you use it, and then like I don't think I've met anybody outside of makeup artists that use their makeup as coloring tools other than for face charts. So
Yeah.
to hear that you use it for drawings, is there a particular brand that you prefer over others that blend better?
Well, the Kat Von D beauty collections are just really pigmented, and I love that bright pop a lot. And then there's also I'm like literally looking. I have a big armoire filled with makeup directly next to me, so I'm looking there like which one do I use the most? Urban Decay, I really love. I wear majority Urban Decay. MAC is sometimes pigment. I use MAC for just art if that's weird. Like I don't even wear MAC. I use it just for coloring because it's very bright.
Oh yeah, and they have the really good deal where you can trade in so many after you empty it out to get like a new one.
Yeah,
And then speaking of Urban Decay, I'm pretty sure their friends and family sale is coming up soon, considering it's the holidays.
I
It's
have
kind of
two.
scary that I know.
I'm one of those people where I swear if you could just look next to me, I have an entire makeup collection that if I got any more, I think that I would have nowhere to put it. Like it just doesn't go anywhere anymore.
I don't see a problem with that. I'm just saying this.
Girl
Um,
problems.
uh, what inspires you the most? Where do you pull like most of your inspiration, especially when you first started? Like it's like you said you just started with just drawing fan art, but what really like drew you to that too? I like how I chose that word, drew you to that. What really pulled you like this is what I want to do. This is what you started doing and why?
Well, when I started working in fashion, which is my like primary job and everything, it was more like movies that had really like the weird girl cliches. I loved watching Tim Burton movies. Winona Ryder just pulled off everything and I loved her for it. Her and Heathers and all of that stuff. That really I used to hate fashion. I used to think it was a joke. I would make fun of it all the time. And then I started paying more attention to these movies and I was like, well, that's not so bad, I guess. I used to make jokes about how much I hate. I literally had shirts that were all just like, I hate fashion. Fashion's dumb. Like I had all these dumb T-shirts, and then suddenly I got into it because the movie Weird Girls. I love the Weird Girls. I'm the weird girl. I started wearing wigs because of a movie character that I loved her style. It was like an SLC punk. Trish wore this exact color wig. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to start wearing wigs now. And then that's how I got into the wig. So like a lot of my inspiration when it comes to art and fashion and stuff are from movie Weird Girls.
I think I want you to be my best friend. I'm just saying because you just sound like so much fun to be around, and it sounds like every day is an adventure with you. Um, as far as fashion, what is it exactly that you do within the fashion industry?
I do a mix of things. I'm a stylist, so I've styled photo shoots for people like the Bella twins. I styled for a while in the Daily News. We had a few articles there. I did the product and shopping guide styling, so I was the one telling people the best gifts to get for everyone from kids to your boyfriend or girlfriend to pets. I've done all of that kind of stuff, just combing the internet. Shopping basically was my major job, just pretending to buy everything, telling you what was the best thing to buy. I also do a lot of writing for some lifestyle sites. So I write about influencers, travelers, video games I've written about a lot. I tend to just try to combine all my interests because for a while I was kind of placed into just fashion and beauty. But I've been really pushing for video games and anime because that is really my biggest love. It's something that I have been doing since I was on Sega Genesis playing Beavis and Butthead. Like I've been on my video games forever. So I've been doing more writing for that also now. You'll see like stories about me making fun of stuff like people at Pokemon Go, all the controversy when it came out. That was probably my favorite one because the entire title was like how to not be a tool while playing Pokemon Go, and it made me laugh.
Okay, so I have like kind of, I guess a semi-personal question, and I'm not going to ask you for your age, but you sound like a woman that has had quite an experience and quite a work history, to be honest. Have you ever been told like by friends or family or people who don't fully understand your love for the things that you're passionate about? You ever been asked like, when are you going to grow up?
I get that more with video games than anything. I feel like when I got into fashion, it was something that everybody kind of just jumped on board with. They thought it was cool. I used to start off in design, so I was making clothes. So I guess that's why they thought it was cool because I could just make my own clothes for a while there before I realized that's too much money. But when it comes to video games and anime, I think one of my old bosses who's like one of my closest friends, it was really funny. She used to make fun of me all the time. I'd be in the fashion closet working and I'd be in cosplay for no reason because I felt like dressing in cosplay. And it was just really bad. She would just laugh at me like, what are you doing? Like, you need to get out for 2 seconds and leave your room. Or like even my family, I go talk to them and I tried to explain Twitch to them and it blew their minds. They're like, why are people watching people play games all day? And I was just like, it's fun. So it's only when it comes to anime and games that they think it's crazy and they're like, I don't get it. But when it comes to fashion, they were always pretty on board. I think it was more because they liked that I got to play with a lot of makeup and they got to steal it from me.
Do you ever have coworkers that tune into your Twitch channel and watch you?
I don't know. I only just started using Twitch literally like yesterday. I've been trying to get into it, but as Andrew knows, I'm extremely shy in front of a camera. So I tend to just like wimp out a lot. And I have a lot of people who want to check it out and who have been bothering me to get on. So I know even yesterday I was testing out OBS and a lot of the people you see here showed up there just to like help me out. So I really appreciate them because they do try to be very supportive. And I do have like the best friends who come and they tell me if something's wrong and then they make fun of me. So I laugh and then I feel comfortable again.
I'm going to have to call you a liar on that because I cannot believe you being shy behind a camera because you're talking so openly, so freely. I don't know.
Well, that's something that they always say that I'm like the biggest contradiction on because I'm not bad at it. I just get nervous. I can talk to people a lot. I am like the mom of every Discord, just talking to everybody when they need me. But at the same time, I go in front of a camera and I just feel really nervous suddenly and I can't do it. Like I don't let people take pictures of me. You'll see like on my Instagram, you see I take a million pictures. I make the most ridiculous setup here in my room to take those pictures. I got a tripod, a timer, I got like a little Bluetooth click thing, I got everything, but I will never let someone else take that picture for me because it makes me nervous.
Yeah, I was gonna say your Instagram is really, really nice. I was looking through it and I adore your hair. Is your natural hair colored?
No, my natural hair, I used to color it a lot in high school, and I think the last straw was right after high school. I went through a week where I bleached it twice because I went pink, then I got bored and made it blue, and then I bleached it again and made it red, and from that it just all hell broke loose. It hated me. I realized this is not going to work out, so I had to cut a lot, and now I've just been letting it grow because it's actually been growing a lot. It's just boring brown and like whatever leftover black dye is in there. I get tempted to dye every time I look at it, though. Like I just did my hair yesterday, and I stared at it and wondered if I should just buy bleach real quick.
I was gonna say because I was gonna be really, really jealous of your hair. I mean, I kind of still
The
am. 'Cause
wigs.
I don't
This is
have a
what
wig. I don't have a wig collection.
I
What
just
kind of
collect
do?
a bunch of cosplay wigs for no reason.
Any particular brand?
I go to Light in the Box because they just have a ridiculous amount of cheap wigs, and I've been shopping there for probably the last like 5 years, just buying all of their cosplay wigs. They're really cute ones, and they last me a while. I actually learned how to make them look more natural and style them from a girl I used to work with when I was like 17, who was the girl who styled Katy Perry's wigs in the California Girls video. And we did a shoot together and she was the one who taught me how to like cut them and make them look more natural. So I just always had that stick with me and thank God for her because it used to look terrible before that.
Okay, so serious question time, and I'm
I
gonna
know.
take this one from Andrew. Um, if there was a piece of advice that you can give a younger version of yourself, 13, 14-year-old version of yourself, one piece of advice that you think would have just made so much things easier for you growing up, what would it be?
Oh my God, enjoy the time you have right now because I used to be in such a rush to just get ahead and do everything that eventually I did get ahead and the next thing you know, it hasn't slowed down since. And I didn't really take that time to just chill out and enjoy my time when I was young in high school. I think my first internship, I was like 16 or 17. And that's because I just went up to a store and asked. But from then on, I just started going right one after the other. And I haven't had that much time off since. So it's been about, I want to say I've been in this industry for 10 years now. And for that whole 10 years, I remember I used to just want to get ahead so much that became my obsession. I lost relationships. I lost a lot from that because I focused so much on just work and just doing everything to get ahead that I didn't get to enjoy as much as I wanted to when I was younger.
You think that is something that you learned over the years, like going through and losing, I guess, like you said, those relationships because you're focused on that? Like, did you have an epiphany one day, just like, I'm not happy, or you just observed what everybody else had?
I don't think it was as much as just saying I wasn't happy. It was more like I kind of just accepted. I was like, I love my work, and somebody just they just have to accept that I do both. I'm gonna be at work and love that, and I'm gonna do something else. I do wish I didn't get started so young, so I had a little more time to just have some fun and do my own thing. But where I am now, I wouldn't change it. I mean, I'm in an industry that a lot of people would love to be in. I've met a ton of celebrities. I've met my idols. So it's like I really can't say like, oh man, I regret leaving my job and getting ahead because then I wouldn't have met all the people I've met and like embarrassing myself in front of my idols doing dumb things like showing La Tigra I know how to do the dance to one of their songs during a shoot. Like I've just done a lot. Like I wouldn't have that moment where I was like 20 years old and dumb and decided, hey guys, I can do the Decepticon dance right now and then just do the dumb dance aerobics dance for them.
Okay, that's really cool though, because that goes with really fun and interesting life stories that you can tell like anybody or your grandkids. They'll probably never believe you, but at least you know it's real.
Oh, please. I always tell my friends my embarrassing stories with anybody famous or anything. I think like I've only had maybe two people I've been nervous to talk to, and she was like Latigra was one of them when I met them, and I just ended up embarrassing myself doing the dance, and then I just told all my friends like, "Oh my God, remember how we used to do that dance in high school? I just showed it to the band." They just sat there like, "We don't even know that dance anymore. Like it's been a long time."
But that leaves a lasting impression on them, and it's just like, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they won't forget. I know like right after, I think they followed me on Twitter for a while because I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know that usually you don't fangirl at these things. And it was like one of two times I've ever fangirled for a celebrity before. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I just embarrassed myself.
What was the second?
Okay, so I grew up with a love of Mary Kate and Ashley. And I mean, I had like a book version of every episode of Full House. So like I really loved Mary Kate and Ashley. I had I still have VHS tapes of them. A couple years ago during Fashion Week, I was asked to cover their line, and they showed up. And I was asked to interview them, and I couldn't. I literally was in like my goth Spice Girl boots that are like 10 inches high and like all black clothing. And I'll never forget, like Mary Kate was smoking a cigarette or something, and Ashley was talking. And I walked up 3 times, stopped, and just had to walk away. And then I just remember Mary Kate looking at me like, what is this girl doing? Because I just kept walking. No, never mind. And then I just walk away and come back. And then I went outside. I remember back then I smoked cigarettes and they were outside again. And I ran. I told my boss, I'm sorry. Story didn't happen. She's like, why? I was like, I ran. I couldn't do it. I could not face the Olsen twins. Those are like my childhood loves. I'm pretty sure they think I'm just that weird girl in all black who just kept walking up to them lost.
Either that or they told their security just like keep an eye on that one.
I will
That
say I
one's
have to think Mary Kate loved my outfit because I was back in her goth phase and I was all like black clothes, giant boots, and she did seem to eye that like she loved it. And you know what? I got love for her. She could borrow my outfit anytime.
that's really cool though. Andrew, you had anything? You're being quiet over there.
Absolutely. No, you can go on, but yeah, I got something. So 10 years in the industry, specifically which industry before I ask what I'm getting ready to
Fashion.
ask?
I started
Fashion.
working in
Okay.
fashion 10 years ago.
Okay. Any struggles in that industry? Because the perception, I guess for me, I'll speak directly for me. When I look at the fashion industry, it seems like there's a lot of there's some pride there, and there's a lot of people looking down at certain individuals who have not necessarily quote unquote made it. And there's and that's just my perception, and I'm an outsider looking in. What is, based on your experience, that industry like today?
I mean, from my experience, I know it was not always easy for me because, like I said, I go to work. Fashion was always my job. I liked it, but it was my job. And then I come home, I play video games and watch anime and all that stuff. And they don't often relate to that very well. So I know a lot of times, a lot of my like social anxiety developed from the fact that I would be going to these shows and they would look at me and I'm the girl who's like color hair just became cool in the last 2 years. There was not a lot of people with colorful hair hanging out when I started out. So it was a lot of just like side eyes and like we have no idea what you're talking about when I talk about how I was hanging out all day playing games. So I would say like that was probably the only thing that really was kind of a setback for me because it does become hard to meet people with similar interests outside of fashion. A lot of the people in fashion are people who came from a background that was already in it. So I didn't. I grew up just regular random chick hanging out and with the punk kids and stuff. So it became one of those things that it was just awkward at times. Like you go to Fashion Week, I'll never forget. They were like, "Oh, what were you doing last night? Did you go to this event for this designer?" And I'm like, "No, I was playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag and I got all the forts." And they were like, "What?" And I was like, "I mean, great forts." Hi,
Okay,
Zeddy.
so any particular story in that industry that sticks out to you that you never shared before?
I mean, I guess really when it comes to it, a lot of my Fashion Week experiences became the most fun ones for me because I got to meet a lot of random people at these events. I know back in the day it was at Lincoln Center. They had a lot of open like events for people to come hang out. And I think my favorite was I befriended for a while a bartender at one of the events, but she was calling me like white Nicki Minaj, and I was just like, I'm not white. And she's just like, we're drunk, it's fine. I was just like, who's white Nicki Minaj? Hello. And, but it was one of those things where it was just the funniest moment. And like, she was just hanging out with me the rest of the night. And I was like, of all the people I connected to, it was this bartender who also like moonlighted as a jazz singer for a band. And we just had fun the whole night. And that was always my favorite part. Like I would go to these fashion events and you would just meet some really funny people who just had a funny way of looking at things and you got to hang out with them. And it was great connections to make.
Very cool. So favorite food since you're from Queens?
Food. Oh my God. I eat like every Asian food in the world. I eat sushi like you wouldn't believe. That's pretty much all of my diet is sushi. I eat sushi and tacos. I will eat Taco Bell till the day I die. Like that is my calling there. If I could marry Taco Bell, I'm in that.
Yeah, sushi. I dig sushi as well. So gaming industry stuff, Twitch related stuff. Based on some of the things I was looking in the chat that you don't often do the streaming on the Twitch thing. And if you do decide to be even more consistent on the Twitch thing, are you going to do a variety of streaming stuff, or are you going to do art stuff specifically, or are you going to do gaming mixed with art, or what do you think in relation to that stuff?
I honestly don't think I'll ever do art. I think that I'm too insecure about my art half the time because it's just, I'll explain it this way. I remember in high school I had a teacher who kept giving me the criticism on the art I needed for a grade. And I think I got so mad I threw my old school iPod across the room. And that's when I realized like I don't want people involved in my art really. I enjoy it being personal and doing it my own way. Otherwise I get kind of annoyed when everybody's got something to say. So when it comes to streaming, I think it's really for me about hanging out with people with similar interests. Like I said, I don't get that a lot in fashion, and that was my job every day. So a lot of what I do for Twitch and what I plan to do is just hanging out with my friends and meeting other people I just talk to all the time. I mean, I don't see like a lot of people starting out on Twitch these days are kind of just automatically donation button and I want to be this and get money here and there and like let me get a bar of how much I want to raise. And it's just like no one's going to give you money right away anyway. You're just going to like discourage yourself. So for me, it's just, I just want to hang out and talk to the people I always talk to. Like all these people here are from different channels that I hang out in or I mod. And I just love hanging out with them because some of these people I've been friends with for over a year and I talk to them about everything.
Very cool. Okay. So as far as, okay, so there was a hashtag going on maybe like a week and a half ago. Now this is not necessarily probing into personal situations, if any, if none, you know, whatever. But what did you think if you did see that hashtag Me Too going around? The overall outlook of that particular hashtag, was it absolutely a necessity? Did it you know, do what it was supposed to do, intended to do, like when it was out? If you paid any attention to it, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that just flipped so hard suddenly. But yeah, I do feel it was important because honestly, I think that that hashtag is what started it kind of being the conversation everyone to look at. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that the girls you hang out with, the girls that you're related to, a lot of girls were experiencing this. I know I've had experiences that I was able to put out and say, like, I was a part of that hashtag. And a lot of people would be surprised to know how many people are affected by harassment and things like that. So it really does stick with people. It really does stand out. And I really feel like the hashtag started this whole like snowball effect of everybody coming forward and finally naming names. And like, look at where we are now. We're like, everyone's being called out. And now we're also getting into the topic of men who are coming forward, revealing their stories, which is something that was really difficult also because they have a whole stereotype going on where they can't be affected by that according to pop culture and everything. Look at Corey Feldman, I believe. He was laughed at when he said it on TV years ago that he was experiencing these very things. And now he's kind of stuck where he's happy it's being talked about, but he's still too scared to come forward. And I understand why.
Daniela?
I like how you seriously did do a mix-up on the both of us asking that question.
Just random flip
we can park it right there.
No,
I mean,
no, that was good. Because
I could dig. Do you want me to probe? Because I can probe. If you give me permission to probe, I'll probe.
Oh God, we're good. Like, I don't know. How much would you like to probe? What do you want to know?
Okay, so yeah, so do you want to talk about the experience that you had? If you want to share some enlightenment and encouragement to the individuals who may not necessarily want to talk about these experiences, and you can encourage them to be very vocal.
I think it's important to just acknowledge that every experience counts. Nothing is too little or too big. I've had experiences, I know when I was younger with neighborhood girls, and people don't expect that because they think like, oh, it's just little girls, and people don't realize that it comes from all directions, and every story, it counts. It's something that you should be able to acknowledge as like you are a victim in a way in that sense. And they should be able to say like, if a boyfriend did it, a friend did it. I've had situations that I've had harassment and different issues with people I've dated, with friends. And I feel like because your other friends don't want it to be a drama, they tend to just brush it off, pretend it didn't happen, tell you not to get too into it. And I want people to really understand that between the hashtag Me Too and everything, that was to say, like, you have a platform and you deserve to be heard no matter what anyone says. It's your personal story, your personal struggle, your personal thing to come forward and whenever you want and however you want. And to feel validated in that, like, it was something that mattered no matter how much you feel it didn't.
That's an absolutely beautiful message. I cannot agree more than what everything you just said. Sorry, that's all I had to say. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for the awkward silence because I was like super deep and I really appreciated it. That's all. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, it's good because I know. Okay, so we're not gonna keep you any longer than I mean, we can talk all night. I know that. But based on some of the things that we already know that you're trying to do, any last words of wisdom that you want to share, and also some gaming industry stuff. I know we didn't really touch on that as much as we did the fashion stuff because the fashion is a big portion of your life. Any game industry stuff that you want to share before we
My only game industry moment for the last few days is I plan on beating Assassin's Creed Origins and no one will stop me or get in my way. That is my version of the industry right now. My industry is I plan to live on that game for the rest of my life. So good luck, guys.
Nice. Danielle, I don't have anything else. I'm good.
I'm good. I thank you and I appreciate you coming on and taking your time. I feel like I could talk with you like all night, seriously. Like you're amazing. So I'm sad to have you go.
It was nice talking to you guys. I had a lot of fun. I was a giggly mess, but still I had fun.
That was dope. Really appreciate you coming on and your whole crew and of supporters.
I see Pika joined. Hi.
Shout outs. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the love. But yeah, well, do what you have to do. We'll talk soon. And of course, the anime thing that's happening in the city pretty soon. I'm still debating. I'm on the fence.
I'm still debating. I kind of got a little push to go. I saw like some stuff going on possibly with the Crunchyroll crew, so I'm thinking about it more.
Okay, so last thing, where can people find you? And then we'll let you go.
I am on everything. I'm on Twitter as Oh Hey Tracy with an extra Y at the end. I'm on Instagram as Hey Tracy Michelle, and you can find me here on Twitch as just Oh Hey Tracy.
Thank you so much for coming through. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Okay.
That was Tracy.
She's a delight. She is a bubbly delight. And I love her use of colors on everything. She's like my opposite. It's funny because she speaks about God things and she has all of these colors. I don't know how to coordinate colors to save my life. My entire wardrobe is black and blue and gray.
Okay, so yeah, so that's the other thing too, because I used to wear like white, and I stopped wearing white, with the exception of like church stuff. But outside of that, gray hoodies, black hoodies, blue hoodies, yeah, blue jeans, light blue jeans, but not too light because it looks weird to me. And then shoes, like lifestyle shoes. I do not like shoes that have white in them. Like for example, like the Converse with the white. I can't do Converse with white. It has to be gray or black, or it has to be I think you can get them like stained, like the yellow Converse. I'd get the stained Converse versus the white and black Converse, if that makes sense. Because I don't like white on my sneakers.
I don't mind. I like the Adidas white, the old school, like the OG
But it gets
Adidas that I
dirty,
had.
though.
I
Like,
know it gets dirty. That's why you clean them, but you just don't own them on this island at all. You don't. Like, this island has this thing called red dirt, and it's like volcanic dirt. It stains everything. There is nothing to clean it. You can't even bleach it to get the red out. That's how bad. So that's the only reason why I don't wear white shoes anymore. But
Yeah, so that's what's going on now. So Tracy was dope. Definitely shout out to Tracy and her supporters that came through to hang out here at the show radio. Yeah, good times. I really appreciate that. So one of the things I really want to talk about lightly, not too heavy. Turtle Beach, a Stealth 600 headset. Gonna touch on that a little bit. Call of Duty, World War II. Shout outs to Activision. They sent that. So been playing that on the stream a little bit. Paris Games Week, we're going to talk a little bit about that. BlizzCon and also Xbox One X. So that's kind of the lineup for tonight. And for those hanging out in chat, really do appreciate you chilling and relaxing. That is very, very appreciated. So first things first, Turtle Beach 6 Stealth 600. A very, very a different headset than the Rig 800 in terms of size and feel. As far as like the mic coming down, and it has the sonic voice capabilities inside the actual headset. Green and black colors, flagship for Xbox. The only thing that I'm trying to test out right now is duration of use. So I'm going to be very over general about it because I'm still testing out a couple of things. It feels like the longer I wear it, my brain starts like feeling kind of weird. Like I think it pushes a little bit versus the actual Rig 800 that I didn't experience that with. So I'm going to double check that to make sure that's not exactly what's happening. Maybe it was just me having a bad day, but that pressure of the band, I kind of feel that. So I gotta reevaluate what's going on with that particular thing. Outside of that, in terms of setting it up for the Xbox One itself, it's there's no wires for the Stealth 600 headset. So I just learned that my Xbox has a button on the left side of the disk drive that you press to actually connect a headset wireless with it. I didn't even know that button was there. So pairing the headset to the Xbox was pretty easy with that once I figured out that there was an actual button on the unit, the Xbox itself, and then also the button on the actual headset. It has different EQ settings from what I recall, probably like 3 or 4. It's pretty cool. The buttons are embedded into the ear cup, if that makes any sense, where they have, instead of having like a toggle switch, it has the button part of the plastic so it has a mode, and then it has the power button that's kind of built in flush with the ear cup. A very interesting design, a little bit different from some of the other headsets that I've actually played around with. But the volume and the chat are rockers. So like the scrolling thing for that. Other than that, nice build. It flips down to the shoulders, which is pretty neat. And that's all I want to talk about it right now. So far, it's very nice. I was watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos with it last night. So quick impressions. So far, so good, with the exception of the headband thing, which I need to test a little bit more.
I think that button on the side of the Xbox is the same one you use to pair any additional Xbox controllers that you have.
Yeah, and I didn't know it existed. I never had to use it until now.
Well, how often do you use your Xbox? That's a
Hmm.
good
It's a
question.
great question, Danny. It's a great question. Lately it's been getting a lot of use. Prior to that, not so much. But yeah, I'm still learning new things about it, especially with all the different software updates that they've been doing to the actual system, which they're preparing for the Xbox One X, which we'll talk about a little bit later with all the changes that's happening there. But yeah, so far so good with that. So I'm not gonna judge it too strongly yet, as far as like the headband and the concerns there. So I'm just gonna leave that out a little bit. But I just wanted to make a note, document that here. So that's that. Any comments or thoughts on that besides me not playing my Xbox so much?
No, no.
Very, very cool. So you have that. Call of Duty World War II, quick impressions, playing through the campaign. I think I did the first 2 stages yesterday. So I'll play a little bit of that. Having a lot of fun, very intense, very emotional game. It makes you feel things in terms of war, that kind of a thing. Is very interesting game so far. I like the mechanics and the fighting mechanics. Some of the mechanics that you do in the game in terms of wrestling somebody if they have a knife and they're trying to stab you with a knife. There's different mechanics that you could do there. I know there's the zombie mode stuff, which I haven't touched yet. So far, it's been the campaign. And if the multiplayer is very similar to what we play with the beta, I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. From what I did see with the launch party for PlayStation, I think the launch party, to be very, very honest, it was very underwhelming. Absolutely underwhelming. I didn't feel the excitement for a major title of the year that I did feel for some of the other titles that are actually already out, or even if there's anything else coming out between now and December. Besides some movies, I think Star Wars drops on 15th or something like that of December or something like that. But outside of that, I didn't feel that roaring passion of relentless nerdism or gasm, whatever it is, for this particular release. Maybe it was just the circles that I hung out with. But outside of that, I didn't feel the same energy at some of the marketing money that I thought I was going to see with this title. So the launch thing was kind of like, it's I think getting a milkshake from McDonald's or Burger King was more exciting than the actual launch thing that I saw.
Wow,
For Call
really?
of Duty.
That's like really super dramatic.
Yeah. Maybe it is. But sometimes some people say I'm over dramatic about a lot of things. Not saying that. Okay, so let me be very, very clear. Very, very clear. The game is amazing. Okay, what led up to the last few seconds of releasing to digital, all that stuff, the milkshake was more exciting.
That must be one spectacular milkshake.
It was really good. McDonald's milkshake and Burger King milkshake are pretty good. They're pretty good. Okay. So that's what happened there. But once I started playing the game, played a little bit on stream. So definitely, if you're on this channel listening or checking out this channel, I'm playing more games on this channel because I definitely want to have some more traffic here. Since we spend a good amount of time here on Sundays, I definitely want to do a little bit more time throughout the week. But outside of that, I did play the first 2 campaign stages on normal, on stream for Call of Duty World War II. Quick impressions. The game is great. What led up to the launch, the last 4 or 5 days leading to launch, was not that exciting for me. But as far as the game is concerned, I definitely appreciate Activision Call of Duty team for sending it, for sure.
So, did you try any of the multiplayer?
Absolutely not. Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Because I feel you didn't open it on the very first day, right?
No, because I got it. I got it shipped here Friday. I didn't open it till Saturday evening because I had a leadership meeting. Then when I came back from that, it was like 5-6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I had whole bunch of downloads Friday into Saturday. I think it was over like 5-6 gigs of download stuff. So I was like, I'm not staying up for that. So let me crash because I had to be up early Saturday anyway. So by the time I got back here Saturday, 6 p.m. give or take, I played for like maybe an hour and a half on stream or something like that. Whatever the 2 campaign stages, watched the beginning intro, which was amazing. Playing the game, shooting, hitboxes is great. No issues there. So they nailed that. But the sounds of the reloading is amazing. So they definitely nailed it there. But no zombies yet and no multiplayer yet.
Okay. No, what I was gonna mention is that I am not playing it. I haven't been a good Call of Duty person in a while, but I was watching my boyfriend attempt to play it. He's playing it on Xbox though. I am amazed that by this time, it's 2017, why it is that it's not necessarily like Activision. It's kind of any opening day of any game. Why is it that they still have server problems? Why doesn't that ever go smoothly? And I would just assume that by now they would have figured out how to better balance the workload of like people like jumping on to download to play or something. But no, like up until I think even yesterday, still having server issues of it being offline, people not being able to get in, and problems.
Okay, so the server issue is okay. Let me. If it was me, okay. So let's just talk about if it was me. The preparation for a big title like this, you can't fully prepare for it, right? So most of the major titles, as we've seen in the past, whether it's the Battlefield, I think they've had issues in the past as well. Call of Duty has had issues. Destiny had their issues as well. You can't. You want to say you can fully plan for how many individuals are going to pound that particular server, if it's a farm, whatever, right? That you have, but you can't completely fully prepare for it. It's almost like spending money that you want to spend, but at the same time you don't want to overspend, especially if you can work with what you already have, right? So I'm not going to completely invest in all these servers that may not necessarily get hit like that. I think it'd be a waste, right? But that's just me. That's just how I feel about it. But at the same time, if we get pounded and we can use those metrics that we have to either add 1 or 2 instead of 10 or 20, that's still within the confines of budgeting to a certain degree. Because if we don't need to add a whole bunch of servers, we're not going to do that, right? So that's how I kind of look at it. So the issue, although it's a turnoff for certain games. Okay, I don't know why I'm thinking about Castle Crashers, because that had a multiplayer component to it, up to 4 characters, and I think that a lot of individuals were really turned off about Castle Crashers because of all the issues that it had for the multiplayer. And once they finally fixed that, it was almost they lost a lot of individuals in the process. So it's like it's, I don't know if you want to say it's a catch-22, but at the same time, it's tough to plan. But if you know the game is going to be big, at least you feel as a developer that the game is going to be huge, and then you're trying to prep for that. How prepped can you really be? Right? That's
Well, I have to read what Hundreds has to say, because I have to agree with Hundreds completely. Hundreds in chat says, you would think they would expand the server or create different servers for regions so it has less issues. You would think. It's better to plan for max than what you think, how many people you think are going to be on.
right.
Or to look back at data of people who have pre-ordered, who have played past CODs, to get an estimate of that metric. And I kind of have to agree with that. It's better to estimate how much you're going to need and then go for max and then scale back as necessary.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so how many companies have used that strategy for their major releases?
I'm not too sure, but for something like Activision, where they know they're going to have like a huge amount of people jumping in. Like, I don't know many people who actually do play through the campaign. The first thing they're going to want to do is do multiplayer.
Right, and I do agree. It's easier to scale back than to grow, but there are positives on the other side as well. So that's why I was saying, like, it's like, which direction do we want to go with it? Do we want to spend a lot up front and then go back, or do we want to add as we need? And I think a lot of companies, based on what you've seen in the last 4 or 5 major releases, just to throw a ballpark number there, they probably scale as they need it.
Well, going with Mock's comment, because I'm trying to think about this too, is when Destiny 2 came out, I don't remember them having a problem with launch, and that's all online.
I think that they had some minor issues with Destiny.
But wasn't as
They weren't
bad
major.
as like people really wanting to get on and do the multiplayer on COD, where they were just
Okay.
just
And I
sat there, they
guess
couldn't do anything.
right, and that's where the unknown is for me, because I didn't really do any multiplayer yet. So I don't know how bad the World War II experience is for individuals trying to play multiplayer, because the only thing I've experienced thus far without even clicking the multiplayer has been the campaign. So if it's really bad right now, then it's not even affecting me, because I haven't really engaged in that particular mode, if you will. So it must be bad if is it really that bad right now? So now I'm wondering, like, I haven't really looked into it like that.
I can't talk on the
As-
PlayStation side, but I know for Xbox it has been. Like, I think the common issues, as far as multiplayer goes, is not being able to find a lobby, or the servers appear offline even though it says that the status is good and green. I see multiple
Right.
people having that problem of not being able to get a lobby, not being able to play, or just not even be able to just jump on the server at all. The other issues is that you're not able to, like, once you get into a lobby, you're not able to freely leave it in between matches. Like, you have
Right.
to quit out of that match, out of that, in the middle of a game, to be able to get out, to go do whatever it is, and to jump back in. And then it's like you're kind of like stuck. It's like, do I want to continue on playing in this lobby with these same exact people, or get out, do whatever it is that you need to do, and hope that maybe I can get a game again?
Mm.
So that's currently like the problems that I've been seeing that people have been experiencing as far as the Xbox side of things. I don't know too many people other than you that got it on PS4 at the moment.
Right. So definitely right about the negative marketing aspect of it in relation to the word of mouth for the individuals actually experiencing the challenges that they're experiencing for the game. I agree there. I think over time, we'll have to see how fast they address the issues. But it's not good. It's not good. But so the question that I have in my mind now is, how much did they have the same amount of marketing money behind Call of Duty than they did Destiny? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no.
Why?
That's without knowledge. It doesn't feel like they did, right? And so, okay, there's something in the notes that we're going to talk about later, so I don't want to jump ahead, but I just feel like I didn't see it all over the place where it was so overwhelming for me to consider the game, right? I knew that I was going to do the game because, it's Call of Duty, obviously, and but they didn't do any major events leading to the title.
Do you feel that they have to? It's Call of Duty. They know that they have this core audience that they can dress it up as Call of Duty Iron Chef and people are going to buy it because
Right.
it's COD.
Okay,
and,
so now
and people will complain about it after they already bought it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what Call of Duty that was released that I really felt like if I didn't get it, I was going to miss out, right? There's always one that sticks out. The Modern Warfares, definitely stick out to me with titles like that in terms of the game was everywhere, so much so where I had to do something about considering to get the game, right? This one was like, okay, I know that they were changing it up, they split the 3 studios like a while back, maybe 2-3 years ago, give or take. So Sledgehammer is this time around. People were getting tired of Call of Duty, obviously, right? So you have that to some degree, and then they were making changes. Last year's Call of Duty was, it was what it was. This year is a change, boots on the ground, nothing spacey. You're not running on a wall, okay, that kind of a thing. So they took it back to the basics of what made Call of Duty fantastic. I like the word fantastic today. So you have that. So, but I didn't feel that same, relentless energy and that marketing campaign for this title that I felt for Destiny. Or any other major title, or even you could even throw Assassin's Creed in there. Like the marketing behind that was crazy. It's all over the place, and I don't even play Assassin's Creed like that. And I'm like, you know what? That is going to be the most amazing game ever, right? Everybody's talking about it, right? Even Tracy was talking about it, just before we got off the call. It's like I didn't feel that for this one, and it's like, why?
I kind of feel like almost Call of Duty, at least for this one, it doesn't need that huge marketing because to me, it kind of sells itself and in a way that they knew and recognized. I'm sorry that we gave you Call of Duty last year with Outer Space and Kevin Spacey. We'll never do that again. And then anything that I feel has, I guess, World War II or timed era to it, period, I guess you could say. People want to play. People want to buy. And shooters, in a way, classic, just like all you're doing, and majority of, I think, almost everybody who plays the COD series, they just want a simple and easy shooter that they can jump in and play a few rounds and get out of. There's nothing complicated about it. It's just that simple shooter. And in a sense, when you have that with World War II, it almost just kind of sells itself, at least to me, that they don't have to market it as strongly as other games do.
I will disagree with that, right? Because if it markets itself, then there should be no marketing at all, right? But yet they're still pushing for marketing and to some degree, right? So the selling itself idea that I fully understand, but you still saw marketing for it, even though it was very, very limited resources. So if it sells itself based on even that conversation, if we were to go with that, if it sells itself, then there should be no marketing at all, right? But there was, but it wasn't at right. So it wasn't as high level as any other title that you saw, different companies, but you saw the push so much so that it was in your face, even if you weren't watching a TV or listening to a podcast that talked about that particular thing. Going back to Destiny 2 again and Assassin's Creed and any other major title that released between September and now. You felt that. You didn't feel that with Call of Duty. It sells itself. Yeah, people are still going to buy it who bought the last 8 or 10 Call of Duties, but still, there was marketing behind it, but it was not as strong.
It wasn't as strong, and it didn't feel like it was as gimmicky. I feel like last year, it was just like they had a shtick for everything. That's kind of annoying. I thought it was really super corny too, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that for this.
You mean for last year, right?
Yeah, for last year, it was really gimmicky and corny and like really try hard.
Okay, so the question I have for you is, will you ever play Call of Duty again? Where do you stand with Call of Duty right now?
No. I don't. I've been watching some gameplay, watched yours, and it looks really, really good. It looks like a lot of fun. But there's so many other games that definitely fall into what I enjoy more, that I would rather spend my time with than that.
Okay.
So
that's fair enough. So then that's Call of Duty World War II. Definitely amazing game. Having a lot of fun with that thus far. Paris. Games we're going to talk about that, BlizzCon and Xbox One X. We're going to talk about those things a little bit later. Okay, so Danielle, let's start us off. Technology, what we got?
Sony, okay, this thing is adorable, and if I had the money, I'd want it. Sony has revived Aibo, their robot toy dog, or dog toy. Well, okay, I wouldn't say dog toy, it'd be toy dog. And for a very, very small price of $1,700.
No. Okay. Absolutely not. Okay, so I'm looking at the post now. The new Aibo is the tech giant's first entertainment robot in 12 years, and for now, it will only be sold in Japan. The machine learns from its owners and environment, as well as tapping into collective data stored in the cloud by other robot units. Okay, so let's talk about pets for a second.
It's a
Pets are
Skynet
cool.
dog.
This kind of dog. Pets are cool. Pets are amazing, but I'm not walking you so you can go poop. I'm not. I'm
No,
not
you're
doing
just
it.
paying a monthly fee for this robot dog.
I'm not even doing a monthly fee for a dog. Okay. And if you get sick, then I have to pay for that too. No, I'm not doing that. So I know my daughter, she wanted a dog for a while. Right. I'm like, mm-mm. No, we're not going to do that because you're going to be walking the dog. I'm not walking the dog. The dog needs to walk me. Okay.
The dog
We
needs
need to go for a walk, but I'm not going to pick up your poop. I'm just not doing that. And that's where I am with dogs. Although I love dogs, and it's not like a thing against dogs. I've had traumatic experiences with dogs that I've had in the past when I used to live in Haiti. So I still remember a particular situation. So that one of the dogs that was kind of like the neighborhood community dog that loved everybody, we claimed as our own, got hit by a car, and I watched it die, and like in my arms. And I don't, I just a bad experience for me. So whenever I think of dogs and owning dogs and something happening to a dog, it makes me sad. So I don't want a dog right now. But if I did get a dog, it'd be either German Shepherd type dog. I like those. Siberian Huskies. I like those. The wolf type dogs. I like those. Those are the dogs I think are really, really pretty dope. Yeah. So
I love all dogs.
17.
I love all dogs. Okay. We're actually
1700.
yeah, it's 1,700. Okay, so I was thinking about this. When you hear about that for a robot dog, it doesn't actually seem that bad when you really think about it. So Hundreds asks, what happens if you don't pay the monthly fee? I think you stop getting updates for your robot dog. But there are some dogs. There's a breed. It's not the English pit bull, American pit bull dogs, and some of them for purebred with papers. Those dogs are like $4,500. $4,500 for a living, breathing dog. So that $1,700 doesn't seem so bad. And then you're thinking about the monthly fees. Well, if you have a living dog, your monthly fees is dog food, grooming, tick medicine, flea medicine, whatever shots and pills that they may need from the veterinarian. And plus, it's a robot dog. You don't have to take it for a walk. You don't have to pick up poop or anything like that. So, $1,700 robot dog with some little monthly fees doesn't sound so bad.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you to do, Daniela. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what you can do. Okay. You can go to Japan and get your dog. Okay. You can do that. But as for me, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna chill off of that. Okay, so you have that. Also, okay, so this thing was pretty interesting. There was a hidden chamber found in a particular pyramid recently. A large empty space has been discovered within Khufu's pyramid that may indicate the presence of a hidden chamber. Any comments on that?
How do you... Okay, hold on. I have to reread this. A large empty space has been discovered within Khufu's pyramid that indicate the presence of a hidden chamber. So how did they know there was a large empty space?
Okay, so they were using some technology that allows you to, I guess, shoot some things into that particular pyramid, and it would.
Oh, okay. So it's like a building ultrasound.
Yeah, and it will give you the measurements of those things, and it's like, okay.
Tracy says that large empty space is where I keep my feelings so they don't get in my way.
Come on now.
Or maybe it's where she stores her makeup and her wigs.
Okay. Did you go eat yet? Did you go eat finally? I need to know that. Yeah, please,
I,
please.
I, I
Yeah.
find when it comes to
Pyramid stories.
those sites,
Is that what
well,
called?
yeah, anything, even anything to doing with our history and our past. When there's still new things to be discovered or to be learned, that that's amazing to me, and I think that's still really, really cool because it shows how much we don't know still. We know a lot,
Right.
but there's still a lot more we don't know.
Right, absolutely. So that was fun news. Canonical has joined the GNOME Foundation Advisory Board. Since GNOME is the desktop now for Ubuntu, and Canonical is the Ubuntu people, and Ubuntu is the one of the most awesome operating system for Linux. I think I have a certain affinity for that particular thing. Linux Mint is dope. I know there's some other ones that are pretty dope too, but Ubuntu is at the top list for me. So that foundation is going to help work hand in hand to form that GNOME desktop to be even better for the Ubuntu space, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with that. So you have that, and then the next thing you have is a SoundCloud app for Linux, Windows, and Mac, and it's called Oreo. I don't know how you want to say that.
I'm
It was
so
just a
glad
weird
that you
spelling.
decided to try to pronounce that and not me.
I tried. I tried. I'm trying to see. Did I even spell it right? Yeah, it's AURYO. Is a desktop SoundCloud app that works for Linux, and I'm going to install that tonight after the show.
Ryu?
Mm-hmm.
Ryu.
Mm-hmm. I could roll with that. I could roll with that. So that's going to be dope. So that's for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So definitely try that. It looks like a pretty good app. Some of the features include listening to playlists, your stream likes, discover new music, add music to playlists, read comments, search artists, tracks, and playlists, follow and unfollow artists, share and like tracks, media key, and MPRIS integration. I think that's shortcut keys, that kind of thing. So that's going to be dope. I'm going to install that because I listen to a lot of SoundCloud stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Any comments on those things?
Mm-mm.
Nothing there. Okay, so Skype revamps the desktop client. How to connect the PS4 controller to your Android, and Super Tux Kart Android release is a go. It's like a Mario Kart, but Linux characters, pretty dope. I installed it on my Android phone, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. And how to set up Plex Media for Xbox One. Any comments on those things?
Skype revamps desktop
Mm-hmm.
client.
Yep. And I
Again.
installed it for Linux, and I think that's for Windows also and Mac. So the whole user interface was changed.
I guess I gotta go and look at it. It's been a while since I used Skype. So praise be to Google Hangouts because it's a whole lot easier to handle than Skype.
Yeah, right. Google Hangouts has been pretty dope. It's been treating us pretty dope. So that's what's happening with that. Next thing we have is photo editors for Android. If that's your thing, we're gonna have 7 in the show notes. Netflix secret categories, which is an article that I've seen before. It's not the first time I'm seeing the Netflix secret categories. If you want to make watching easier for you for categories, definitely check that out. That's gonna be pretty dope. And Daniela, definitely, I want you to spend some time, if you can, on the Razer stuff.
Because Razer made a phone, which
Razer
is
made a
kind of
phone.
silly
You believe
to
that?
me.
Razer made a phone,
I know.
guys.
They announced that that was a pretty big announcement, and so I'll read off. I'll start off with the stats because it sounds pretty impressive. Okay, so it's Android based with the Nougat version 7.1.1. It has a 5.72-inch screen, which natively it's 1440 by 2560 display. And this is definitely special for this, and specifically because this is the only phone that offers it. It has a 120 hertz refresh rate, which is a little bit crazy for a phone. Also has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, 64 gig internal storage, which is actually pretty impressive, I think, to me, because I think almost the standard is 32 right now. 8 gigs of RAM. It has a dual rear 12 megapixel camera and a 8 megapixel front camera. The micro SD slot can support up to 2 terabytes.
Oh,
The battery is about a 4,000 milliampere battery, according to Razer. That is equivalent to 12 and a half hours of video playback, or 63 and a half hours of audio music listening, or 7 hours of Hearthstone straight. And here's the bad side. This is a funny side about this. So it's not like the other phones that try to be a gamer phone. Razer says, quoting them, it is not a gaming phone, but a phone for gamers.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't know.
Just
Just
for gamers.
a phone for gamers. Now, okay, it sounds really impressive to have a 120 hertz refresh rate, but if it is a phone for gamers, obviously these gamers may have games on their phone. There's no games that require that on
Okay.
a phone.
So, okay, so no, keep going.
And
before-
lastly, I considered this phone, but
I bet you did.
but it will not support CDMA carriers like Verizon or Sprint. It'll be strictly GSM only. I am Verizon, so I will
I
not
don't like
see
the
this
way you
phone
said that.
in
I
my
don't like
pocket.
the way you said that. There's a lot of shade. There's a lot of shade in that. Oh my goodness.
And the most impressive part about this, the most impressive is it only retailing for $700
Only.
only. Well,
Okay.
okay. For those people who like to stay up to date on phones, that means that they probably don't reach their like free upgrade point because they want to stay up to date. They're like buying a phone every 6 months. So they have to pretty much either finance these phones or buy it outright. So $700 isn't bad considering that is exactly what I had to do for my phone. I has the S7 and that cost me $650. And it doesn't have a
Okay.
120 hertz refresh rate. But
no.
it's a pretty reasonable price considering what the iPhone X that was 1,000.
Yeah, I think it was like 1,100 or something like that, which is crazy. I'm not paying $1,100 for a phone. That's just crazy. That's pretty wild. Okay, but what is? I'm not surprised that Razer made a phone
I am.
because their laptops are super crazy dope. Super. So taking some of the technologies that they've been using in their laptops, let's say for the last year and a half, give or take. And I'm not surprised that they made a phone. But the thing that's pretty cool is when you're looking at this phone, if you're able to get it, the features on this phone is like top notch in almost every category. Right? Even at the 835 for the processor, up to 2 terabytes for a micro SD slot, that's insane. That's pretty insane. The screen is like a phablet, right? Almost.
Yeah.
Right? At 5.7. Okay, so you got that. The sound thing, you got the Dolby Atmos and all the fancy stuff with that. I was looking at the quick charge, the new quick charge technology, all the updated wireless stuff. It's a pretty solid contender for sure.
So there is one thing that I didn't mention that is on there. It doesn't have an audio port. It does have the dongle to go through, I think, USB for the audio, but it does
Right.
not have an audio port. Now,
When you
iPhones
say
are going
audio
down
port,
that thing.
you mean like the 3.5 millimeter jack thing?
Yeah, the auxiliary port.
Okay.
So iPhone's been doing that. Do you think that any phones are going to start going down that path where they're going to stop including that auxiliary port?
Okay, I think there are some companies still feel like there's value there. Okay, and the company I'm thinking about right now is called OnePlus. And I think their phones, even now, they're still making sure that they have the compatibility with the legacy inputs, right? I guess if I want to say it that way. So I think that there's some companies who are still going to keep that port in there. And I know that a lot of the new phones and new technologies I may be speaking a little crazy, but a lot of them are going to be focusing on the AR technologies built into the phones, the augmented reality stuff, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if the iPhone people are going to be in that world when it comes to the next level of what we're going to be able to do with the phones. But there are some companies who are still considering the legacy port as something essential. Okay, and speaking of essential, I don't know if the essential phone has the 3.5 millimeter port in it. I would have to look it up, but it does have a 360 camera, which is pretty fancy too. So while I'm talking about that, I'm gonna pull up the essential phone.
I want a 360 camera. Those things seem like so fun to play with. But
That's a
like
good phone
going
too.
back with Razer, I was surprised that they are making a phone. Just because there's just so many options and things out there that I didn't know that they would have jumped onto the bandwagon and just add to that pool. It's great
Right.
to have choices and variety. I'm not like disappointed that Razer came out with a phone. It was more that I was shocked that they did. Um, I just kind of feel, again, the 120 hertz refresh rate, that's a little bit out there. Not just a little, that is a lot out there for a phone. Unless
Right.
I guess it's nice if you watch a lot of video and or a lot of Twitch or something. I'm not even sure. 'Cause I'm not disappointed of what my video quality and screen quality is of my phone. So I guess it's something that I would have to see to experience, because that's like pretty much a standard for anybody who's very super serious about, you know, PC gaming or using a PC monitor for their console gaming. 120 hertz is like a standard need. So
No, that's just the fact that it's even there is pretty dope. Um, but as far as the essential phone USB Type C, it has that. It does not have a 3.5 millimeter port. Does not have it. So some companies are staying with the legacy stuff because they still feel that that's essential. Some are using, like you were saying before, the USB Type C connector, which the Echo uses that. It uses that USB C into the 3.5 millimeter for accommodations, if you want to say that.
well, I guess I'm going to be the old school legacy ones because I like having that. I really do. I don't like having to carry on another attachment just so that I can listen to music. And I'm not always going to have, you know, some wireless headset with me to be able to listen to that. But I will always have, you know, my standard wired headset. Always.
Nice. Very, very cool. And the next thing that we have there is Best Buy now lets you shop with Amazon Alexa. Now, Daniela,
Yes.
are you getting one of these things or do you have one already?
No. No, I don't have one.
No,
And no, I'm
no
not
to
getting
which.
one. Just no.
Okay, because
I don't know. I guess I don't need it. I'm very old school that way. I don't have a problem leaving. I mean, I can do my shopping on my own. But I guess, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like an old lady and I get really paranoid about like, hey, Alexa, order me this. I'm scared that it might misinterpret what I say. And next thing you know, I have a Costco sized thing of mayo or something and I just wanted lotion. I don't know.
who doesn't like mayo?
I don't like mayo. I'm not a mayo fan.
You're not a
But
mayo fan?
I don't know. I guess it's cool. It has its purposes and its reason. I mean, it exists. It's doing well, and people own it. But I don't need it.
Interesting. All right, so you have that. I don't know. I thought about having the Alexa to see how it compares to the Google Home, but I think that'd be a little too much. I think that would be doing a little bit too much, but we'll leave that alone for now. So as far as entertainment news is concerned, which this kind of disturbed me a little bit, when you think about one of the greatest actors currently in our time, I think he's a very, very good actor. Some of the things that we've seen him done, he's pretty dope. So to see the House of Cards canceled, or supposedly going to be canceled after the next season, and all the stuff that's happening with Kevin Spacey right now is very, very interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. I never. Okay, so for the individuals who spend the time to research actors in their lives because of all the different
Netflix
things that
says it's
they want to
ending its
know about a
Kevin
particular
Spacey
actor, I don't do that. When it comes to research, my research usually involves around uh, technology stuff or like podcasting. What is the podcast I should be listening to now, and try to get better knowledge. But in terms of entertainment news, like in-depth entertainment news, I don't do that. So I was really surprised to see all the stuff that's going on with Kevin Spacey right now. Absolutely surprised. So Danielle, I guess enlighten us a little bit before we see how we're gonna deep dive here.
I think it definitely has to go back to, what Tracy was talking about, the whole hashtag for Me Too. Is that a lot of people are finally getting that confidence to come out and talk about, their experiences or being harassed of just being confident in this. And this is coming off of like what, 30 years ago. He's being accused of these allegations that he sexually harassed an actor, and this is like what, 1980 something. And it must know, regardless of this being Kevin Spacey or anybody, this is anybody that's listening, even if something happened to you 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it still matters. It still means something. But as a fan, it breaks my heart to hear this about Kevin Spacey. Because again, he's a great actor and I enjoyed watching him, but I can't, just be like, oh, just because you're, my favorite actor, I can't just sit here and be like, oh, I don't believe this. There's got to be some truth to it, or there's got to be something to it that has to be investigated. So again, it's like, it's guilty until, innocent until proven guilty, but he's going to have to live with this sort of reputation for a bit until it's proven to be false. And until then, it really sucks to hear that, House of Cards will be canceled because of it. Because I love that show very, very much. I need closure on that show. But I respect Netflix for having such a huge stance on it that I'm sorry, we'll go ahead and lose money on this, but we can't stand and support somebody who currently has these allegations against them. So I completely respect Netflix for that decisions. That's my stance on it.
Word. All right, so that's what's going on with that.
I like the transition for this one, right? We like the transition for this.
Disney has announced The Lion King.
So from sad news to the most happy princess news,
Yay.
Disney.
Live action cast for 2019. Donald Glover, Beyonce, James Earl Jones. A little good crew there. Got some peeps.
Oh man, they're it's amazing. Their cast, their entire cast is amazing. When I saw their Twitter post, actually somebody posted the poster for it first, and they didn't say any context for it. They just posted this poster of Disney's The Lion King with all these actors. And I'm like, no way. Whatever. This is somebody's probably dream cast for The Lion King. And sure enough, I saw it on their Twitter. And I was like, oh my God. This is amazing.
It's pretty dope.
It is, because you have, let's say, you got Donald Glover, Beyonce, James Earl Jones, John Oliver, John Connie, Seth Rogen. It's just
Seth Rogen's in there?
Yeah.
Right?
As Pumbaa. You have
Nice.
Eric Andre as Azizi, Keegan Michael Key as Kamari. It's an amazing cast. It really is, and it's just like I can't wait for it. But somebody brought this up to me is for Nala. Okay, well, first of all, I don't know if they're going to make this based off of the cartoon or based off of the Broadway, or is it a mixture of both? But it was brought up that Nala doesn't sing as much. Not saying that Beyonce doesn't have, amazing acting skills, but what a waste of a voice if they don't give Nala more songs to sing. I'm just going to put that out
Really?
there.
Yeah.
So This is the one time that I'm okay with somebody announcing something so far ahead of time.
Oh, you're okay with this one?
I'm okay with this one.
You're okay with this? Okay. All right. So here's your next favorite thing: actor and music artist Tyrese Gibson's clash with Fast and Furious franchise co-star Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, continues. Okay, so basically, what's happening there is he was stating on Instagram that if The Rock is going to be in the next thing, he's not going to be involved in the movie franchise anymore. He also used, some choice words on this particular Instagram post, and I'm troubled by this. I'm troubled by this
Why are you troubled by this?
because I'm like, this is supposed to be a series like other series that's supposed to make the fans happy based on the movies that they're releasing, right? This culture that they've built for the last 8 movies. And from what I understand, there's some other things that's going on with Tyrese right now that makes this a little bit interesting because of the pushback. The pushback means that the money that's supposed to be coming in is not going to come in because the movie is pushed back because of the movie that they're going to do in between the next film, which is going to be pushed out whatever year it is, further out than whatever. So, and based on a conversation I was having with a buddy of mine recently, he was stating that Tyrese has some troubles that he would like to fix, and the money would help that. But the fact that they're pushing the movie back to do the Jason Statham, Dwayne Johnson comedy type race car movie, that's causing a lot of tension for that. So what's going to happen is if he decides to leave the Fast and Furious franchise because there will no longer be his particular character, he's probably just going to find another role that fits the same year that the Fast and Furious was supposed to come out, so he can get the money that he needs to take care of his business, whatever that business is, whatever. So there's a lot of tension between that. So, and I think that is bad for the individuals who really love the franchise to see that kind of stuff going on. But there's also a camp that could care less about the stuff that's actually happening with all the drama surrounding Instagram and Tyrese and Dwayne Johnson talking about his album the way he did on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. And I think it's absolutely unnecessary for a culture that's supposed to be all about family. And I know they're working roles in the movie. I understand that. But it's just very, 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 very sad to watch.
I agree with you, and I
took the
feel
long way because I wanted to take some ammo away from you.
Ammo away from me. I think it's very childish. It is. If I don't really care for the series period overall because I feel they should have been done like so many ago. But for debates and fights and these name callings to happen, like, come on, you're grown adults. It's just like, even if you're angry at somebody, this name calling and putting that stuff out there, that just makes you look bad. It looks like, okay, like you're completely a jealous person. And I'm a fan of The Rock. I love everything he does. He's an incredibly hardworking guy in the entertainment industry. But to resort to name calling and putting that sort of drama out there publicly, it's not good publicity for you. I mean, they say any publicity is good publicity, but if you act like this, who's gonna really want to work with you, either on either side? I think they could have just handled this differently, man to man, and just talk out their problems, even if it ends with them just like, all right, we just don't like each other, we won't work together, kind of thing.
Right.
I'm just also gonna say this is gonna be really, really bad. Looking at Tyrese's photo though, boy, you gotta get yourself a better camera or something like that. That photo looks so blurry. I'm sorry, maybe you do need the work to go and buy you another phone to have better front-facing cameras, because that looks really bad.
Yeah, it was pretty blurry.
But I don't know. That's just me. Is it gonna be so bad to not have Roman Pierce in the future? Like, Fast Nine. I don't know. I guess his character was okay. I
Hmm.
just don't really don't care if they just decide that neither one of these actors are going to be in Fast Nine and they continue the whole series without them. That works too, because I think they got into a point where they can almost do anything with the story. It seems, and people are still going to watch it. So people are still going to be a fan, and maybe that's what needs to happen. Just take them both out until they realize, I'm like, okay, until you guys can get along better, we will not include you in the story.
Right.
That's
But
me.
that's not gonna happen.
And The Rock is a bigger actor, anyways. I think he's.
Ooh. Oh man.
Maybe that's
Okay.
why he's upset because of comments like that.
Probably.
Maybe.
But yeah, so that's a lot of drama in that particular camp. Okay, so I was looking at this car, this Koenigsegg, which hit 284.3 miles an hour. And I know that there was a lot of car talk recently. The Bugatti Chiron, I think there was like a unboxing, if you want to call a car type thing unboxing, shipment, drop off or whatever. Showcasing this particular Bugatti in a recent video I was watching from Stratsman, I think he's called or something. I think that's the YouTube channel. Um, Forgive me if I get that wrong. I think it's Stratsman or something. So he was showing off the car, and how much the wheels were, and the the height and all this stuff. And apparently, there was a conversation surrounding which car is going to be the fastest car in the world in terms of putting out miles per hour. And sooner or later, this is going to be a Guinness Book of World Records type run, because the first run in that video, I think, was like 274 miles an hour. And I don't even think the guy was trying. And the second run was 284.3 miles per hour. And that may be the new top contender right now. So I think Bugatti is a French/German car, I think. And Koenigsegg, I didn't look at the actual history of Koenigsegg. I think Bugatti is French from the last time I checked. Any comments on that, Daniela?
That's scary.
Which one?
Just to
The
go that
Maserati?
fast. Just to go that fast, period. That's scary. I mean, I
Yeah.
like driving fast. I like speed, but 284, that's really. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and the guy looked like he was doing it with no problem, pretty easy. It was, what was interesting, watching from 0 to 150, it looked like it was going from 0 to 65 miles an hour. Like, no problem. This is all in
Like
a
it was
day's
nothing.
work. It was nothing. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Reading that was exciting to me because I like car stuff. Okay, so Daniela, a lot happened this week. Obviously, we've been talking about a whole bunch of different things, and this week also was Paris Games Week.
Oh man. Yeah, there's so many games, and I'm just like, I'm so broke. I'm so happy this is like next year, somewhat, kind of.
Okay,
Ugh.
so pick the ones that really stuck out for you, and then I'll talk about the ones that really stuck out. And I know there's one or two that really stuck out based on what they showed, and we may have to talk about a little bit about that, but we'll work it out. Go ahead.
Oh, that is hard. You're gonna pick out a couple. Like how? Okay, so it wasn't a trailer so much. It was the opening movie for Secret of Mana. And
Okay.
I have a very, very special place for this game because it was one of the first JRPG games that I played on Super Nintendo. And just them showing the opening movie, I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't contain myself. I was actually at work watching. And I saw that, I squealed so loud. Everybody just stopped and looked at me like, are you okay? Yes. Yes. February is going to be a fantastic month for me. So there's that. And then, man, okay. So if I have to choose one more,
You can name them
hmm.
all. Because there's so many good ones. Okay, so you can name them all.
Okay. So I listed on our show notes for today, I listed the ones that really stuck out to me because there was a lot more. So there was The Gardens Between, Concrete Genie, Dead Hungry, which is a PSVR game, Ghost of Tsushima, which is a new game announcement, Erica, which is a full motion video game. It was also a new game announcement. They expanded on Monster Hunter World, Detroit Become Human, Shadow of the Colossus. They showed God of War gameplay. They obviously showed the Last of Us 2 trailer. And then Andrew's favorite, Marvel's Spider Man, and as well as Blood and Truth.
Yes.
So there's a lot of great things. They showed so much more, but those are the ones that really super stuck out to me. And what kind of strangely, like of the new game announcements, Erica, the full motion video one that came out, that also has a very special place for me because on the Sega CD, I feel they were very much ahead of their time in that time frame, in that era. That Sega CD had full motion video games, Double Switch, Night Trap, that it didn't really catch on. So to see things like this, like Erica, which kind of has like that making different choices, like kind of like Until Dawn coming out. It super excites me. It just really super excites me because graphics and CGI or graphics in general can be as good, but when you have a full motion video, it's just it is literally like being in an interactive movie. So that one looked really cool, really fun, and I can't wait to hear more about that. And then I will give it over to Andrew so he can talk about what he liked.
Word. Okay, so a couple of things. Blood and Truth was really dope. Spider-Man, obviously. God of War was pretty cool. But what really stuck out for me was Detroit Become Human. That was interesting. As well as Last of Us 2. That was really, really interesting. So I definitely wanted to dig a little bit into the Detroit Become Human. Daniela, your thoughts on that?
So in the trailer, it was amazing about how many different choices and possibilities that there were gonna be in this game, and they chose a very interesting part of the game. I don't know if it's the beginning, middle, or ending of this game, obviously, but you have this home caretaker who has a choice of, do I protect this girl? Do I stop the beatings? What do I do? Do I just stand there and watch? Do I run away with her? Do I fight her off and let the girl escape? There's like so many different options that it's just like, wow, it's not nearly as linear as games as Until Dawn or what is the other game? Not LA Noire. It was a murder mystery one. I can't remember the name of it. But this one gives so much more options that it is completely viable for so many playthroughs to see how it plays out. And it looked so good.
Absolutely.
Oh man, like are those kind of games that fall into your category of what you enjoy? For you, Andrew.
Well, I'm beginning to believe that I'm really going to enjoy this game. So in 2011, they released a trailer, Quantic Dreams, right? For Kara. Kara was being built by the guy who was the scientist. So as she was being built, she realized that she was self-actualized, right? And that whole conversation with the guy, she didn't want to be disassembled because being self-actualized as that android, according to the video, the context of the video, means that she needed to be disassembled because all that she's supposed to do is follow instructions that she's given, right? So the guy, because of her pleading, he decides to let her be self-actualized and stay assembled. We assembled her again. As first he was disassembling her, and she cried out loud to not do that because she really wants to be who she is. Then he finished putting her back together. Then they put her on the distribution cart, if you want to call it that, and he said, just stay out of trouble. Okay, so that began a whole evolution of what we're getting ready to see with Detroit Become Human, which is what we're seeing with the trailer that we saw recently for from Paris Games Week. And that's Kara self-actualized, being assigned to that home with his dad and the daughter. So
I
whatever the
actually
frustration
forgot
is,
about that clip from, what was it, 2011? I actually forgot about that.
yeah. So that whole thing started the whole idea of what we're going to do to continue that story into what we saw for Paris Games Week. So we see this trailer for Paris Games Week. It comes out, and like you said, a lot of emotion, a lot of choices, a lot of things happening. But even in the conversation that the little girl was having with Kara, one of the things she says that if you're not careful, if you don't listen to the instructions that you're supposed to do, he's going to destroy you like he did the others. So this was not necessarily the first assigned robot for that house. May have been a couple of more based on what the little girl said, if I remember correctly, according to the video. So now you're moving the character around to make those decisions. What are you going to do? Okay, some individuals already on Twitter, based on some of the things I was seeing, that they will not play it because it involves child abuse, right? Because they feel like that is not something that should be glorified, right? And that's an interesting take when it comes to interactive gaming. I don't even know why I'm going this way, but I'm just gonna go with it, right? So we see so many different crazy things in movies that do not give us any option to do anything but watch stuff play out. Then we get to a situation like interactive gaming, specifically this game, right? Detroit Become Human. And you have the option of what can and cannot be done. And you're going to opt out completely. But isn't that's almost like, I don't know if it's contradictory to some of the things. Now, if it's one thing that you don't associate with anything that involves, or you don't watch anything that would have anything like that in it, that's one thing. Okay, I get it. But if you watch movies that have those things in them, but when a game shows those things that you can actually interact with to make sure it doesn't happen, and you opt out, that doesn't make sense to me. That's almost backwards. So you accept it in movies, if that's you accept it in movies, but yet if you can interact to make the situation better, you opt out. That doesn't make any sense to me. So you have the whole dynamic of that conversation that's happening. How extreme is it? How much are they going to show in the game? But if you opt out without experiencing it, in terms of you being the one that can protect the girl, is what I mean by experience specifically, then what good is, Quantic Dreams, I think I'm saying that the name of the company correctly, I think, they've always designed their games to make you feel something. Their last button masher was called what? Heavy Rain, right? I think that was the last one. Heavy Rain was a button timed button thing, which I never played, but I heard different things about.
That was the game I was thinking of. I was trying to remember was Heavy Rain, and that one did. It made you feel a lot. I cried when I was playing it on stream.
Right. So they're professionals at making sure that what you're seeing on display for their games, that you're going to get some emotion pulled out of you for their titles. So is this different than the last games or their last clips? Kara was so powerful for me. I still remembered, like, she was singing and she was spinning and she was singing in a different language, and she was experiencing, quote unquote, I know it doesn't make sense, life, right? And then when she started being pulled apart, there's so many different emotions. That was so the company is they're experts to make you feel things. So if you believe that this is an extreme, I'm not saying that it's acceptable that they took that route, because some individuals are not going to agree I'm not defending what is there, but like you said, the game looks amazing.
It's very interesting that you bring that up because to me, part of what I think makes a good game, because a game to me, video games to me, is also a form of art. And when you think about it that way, art should always invoke emotion and feelings from you, whether they be good or whether they be bad. It should. And yeah, child abuse is a very touchy subject, but it's not something that you can ignore. It exists, it is out there. Um, I think it's very silly to choose to not play a game because of that. I don't feel like they're purposely glorifying it. In no way do I think they're glorifying it because you have all of these options to stop it. Like you said, you have that option to stop this from happening. It's not like you're playing the dad and and doing the harm. I can completely understand that if for whatever reason you play the dad and this is what you're doing and you're inflicting on a child. But no, you're playing this robot helper who has that option, that has that capability to stop it. So I think it's very silly to just decide based on that. But in a very weird sense, at least to me and the way that mine works, is that when somebody wants to choose to ignore something or choose to not want to play it or want to see it, it's like, to me, you're saying that you are refusing to acknowledge it. That if that was the situation, if you were ever, you yourself, in a situation where you saw a child being abused, that to me, you would almost turn a blind eye because that's something that you don't want to see, you don't want to know about, you don't want to hear. Maybe that's not necessarily true, but that is what it says to me. Um, that's kind of it. So I think
Yeah,
they definitely do a really good job at putting those feelings forth. And, if people don't want to play it because of that, well, that's up to you. I mean, I'm not gonna hate anybody because they don't want to, but I go back that really good art will invoke really strong feelings from you, and they do a great and exceptional job at doing that.
absolutely, absolutely. So you have that. That was definitely amazing, and God of War was really good. Last of Us 2, also interesting. Very brutal. Very, I guess the word would be visceral in nature. A lot going on there. Um, based on the trailer, they were like gathering individuals to like slaughter them to get rid of
That
that.
trailer kind of confused me because I'm like, who are these people and what's happening?
Right. Right.
Um,
And then you had the guy that was hiding in the woods, and they were trying to get him, and it's almost like every man for themselves. It was like the survival mode, because even though the lady was injured, brutally injured, she still wanted him to cut the lady down that was hanging, that was about to die. So that whole dynamic of, okay, do I save my own or do I save this one? But this one is associated with activities that has hurt us. So how can I save them when I could barely trust them? So then it's like, who's going to be working together here? Who's what pack is going to happen? So there was so many questions, just watching that whole dynamic. And once that lady is healed, what is that going to look like later on in the story? um so yeah, so there's a lot going on there. So those two trailers really stuck out in terms of their nature of making you feel something when you're watching trailers. And I think that even some trailers recently with Overwatch, that was cool too, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That was amazing too. But yeah, so Paris Games Week, PlayStation, great presentation. I think we also have some numbers here later on that we'll talk about some of the things that they've done. Plenty more to talk about on this episode of the show radio, episode 377. PUBG, Daniela, what's going on with PUBG?
Oh, it's gonna be if you're in the Xbox Insiders early preview thing, you're gonna be able to play PUBG on Xbox on December 12th.
Word. That's gonna be exciting.
I might try to go and join that. I'm not too sure. I still have mixed feelings about PUBG being on console. I like it on my PC. I do. It's not like the smoothest thing. It still isn't the smoothest thing. What am I talking about? I was just playing that just before we started the show, and I got bumped out of the game like twice.
Wow.
But I still enjoy it, and I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's not gonna be super widely available to everyone because again, this is for the Xbox preview insiders. Um, but I think this week they had the vaulting that's available on their test servers. So I'm guessing that if that went really well, I mean, you're gonna have the vaultings pretty soon available to everybody. They're trying to like push it so that they have a very solid 1.0 version to, put out on Xbox for everybody to enjoy. Um, that's kind of it. I'll try it out
Very
on
cool.
Xbox.
Very cool. So that's what's happening. There are also 18 million units sold thus far. They're cooking in that particular department as well. Next thing we have is Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Odyssey, 2 million copies in just 3 days, according to Nintendo's estimate. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised?
No, of course I'm not. It's Nintendo. I mean, I might not own their systems or any of their latest games, but it's never going to surprise me about how well they do. It's Nintendo. They are a staple for life. Like, I feel that Sony and Xbox will go bankrupt and disappear before anything bad happens to Nintendo.
Mm. Yeah, they're doing pretty well. They're absolutely they're crazy right now. So that's what's going on with that. PS Plus games for November. Look at that. Anything? I don't know if anything really stuck out at me for this list. See if it comes up.
Regardless if it sticks out to me or not, I still end up claiming them.
Yeah, I know. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, game preview, summer 26. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. This month's PlayStation lineup, R-Type. Oh, yeah, R-Type. R-Type, PS3. Dungeon Punks, PS Vita. Broken Sword 5. Episode 1 and 2, PS Vita. Yeah, I'm still going to claim them. Yeah. And I still want a Vita.
I mean, it
Still
doesn't
want a
hurt. Even
Vita.
if you're not gonna play it, or that's just craziness. Even if I'm not gonna play it, I still claim it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I might as well. They're free. Just do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. A year of PlayStation Plus for $40 that's happening right now. Double discounts for PSN members. That's going to end on November 7th. BlizzCon news. BlizzCon news. Danielle, what's going on with BlizzCon?
A lot, apparently. I guess if you're a WoW fan, and I didn't know that this was going to be such a popular or sought out thing, was that they are going to make classic servers for vanilla WoW. And I am amazed by how many people are so incredibly excited over this. Like they announced like their expansion for Battle of Azeroth, and they went on about these storming these battlefronts and these pirates and doing all these things. It was really cool. Okay, but I feel that there was so much more hype, at least on my timeline. People who were talking about, longtime friends of mine that have been playing WoW since like 2004, 2005. They're so incredibly hyped for vanilla WoW, and I'm like, what am I missing? Like, I'm not a WoW person, but I thought that was crazy. Like, you're that excited for this? They just announce this expansion, and here you are, and like you get WoW 1.0, and just that's a huge thing. Like, that blew my mind. I guess I don't get it, and unless I play WoW, I'm not going to get it. So if anybody, listening, you want to tweet me at MissyGM and explain this to me because I don't understand, please let me know. Why is that such huge news? That's it.
Nostalgia, maybe?
Maybe, but I don't know. I thought that having expansion and adding to the story and all these new alliances that you will have is far more exciting. I mean, it's like redressing something old and giving it back to you, and here you go. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's me.
Hmm.
I have no idea. But they also announced StarCraft 2 will go free to play on November 14th, I think it was. I think, I can't remember the date. Somebody can fact check me on that one. Hearthstone is also getting a first truly replayable single player mode called Dungeon Run. As well as, what is it? Overwatch has a new character, Moira, who actually looked really, really cool. I don't play Overwatch, but her character looked really super badass, and they were showing some of her, alternate skins too. And they had one that was very much designed and inspired by David Bowie, which I loved. It was super colorful, super very Bowie-esque, so totally respect that. Yeah, here it is, free to play on November 14th. Yes, for StarCraft 2, which is cool. I won't be playing it anymore, but if you haven't played it, definitely give it a try. It's gonna be going free to play. What else did they announce for Overwatch? Oh, Blizzard World is going to be one of their new maps. I was actually a little bit confused by this. When they first announced Blizzard World, it didn't connect in my head that it was going to be a map. I thought, I'm like, is this like some lobby that we can go and check out with different avatars to ride these fictional things? No, it was a new map on Overwatch that looks actually super cool and whimsical. I don't play Overwatch. I want to. I just have all these other games. Looks like fun. And invoking strong feelings. So let's read what it is. The goal of okay, I will actually say it first. So they had Overwatch and Blizzard has these really great minis that they have, and there's one that they came up with, Honor and Glory, that featured Reinhardt, and they've been coming out with these little mini clips too for a bit now. But this one, for somebody who doesn't play Overwatch, and I don't remember how long it was. It wasn't really that long. I teared up.
About 7 minutes.
I genuinely teared up, and I was so sad, and I felt so many different emotions going through this. They are so amazing at doing that, because I almost immediately felt invested in this character in this game that I don't play, that I was genuinely tearing up. I mean, man, it's so good because it makes you want to play this game. It makes you want to invest time into this game because they do this, and it's just such good marketing that I'm like, man, please come out with like a TV series or a movie or leads up to a movie about this, because I will put some money into that. I will watch it. It was good. It was good. And you can read that next part because I'm sad.
Okay. All right. So, what's the goal for Overwatch's animated shorts? According to Lydia Botagani, Senior Vice President of Story and Franchise Development at Blizzard, we always say our job is to make people feel something, feel heroic, or feel sad, or feel triumphant. That's our overall mission, to make you feel something. And the bigger the emotion, the easier it is to get people there. So I was watching it, I think Friday, about between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I remember where I was too when I was watching it. And I was in the car, and I saw the trailer and the people mentioning it on Twitter and all the tweets flowing. And I'm like, you know what? Let me see what this is about. And I think it was about 7 minutes. I'm just roughly guessing here. I think it was about 7 minutes and 16 seconds, somewhere between there, or between 16 seconds or 26 seconds and the 7th minute mark. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow, this is really good. You know, why did you leave your people behind? Why are you so prideful and arrogant? Don't you know that working with a team is always going to give you better results, especially when the team is working as a unit. So all these different things I'm thinking about. This is the cost of trying to do your own thing. So there was a whole bunch of different thoughts going through my mind watching that. But at the same time, you have a mission to finish, um, and all those wonderful things that are very honorable and noble that you need to do. Even though you messed up, you still have to clean it up. So there's a lot going on for me watching that. And I think that there's a lot of lessons that you could learn there. And not only that, it's a visually spectacular. There's also a lot of lessons embedded into that whole thing. Remembering those who labored and fought so you can have the rights and the things that you enjoy today. Whatever memorabilia that they left you, honor that. Tell your children's children the story that how they live, how they fought valiantly for the things that you enjoy today. So it was a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff with that 7-minute short. It was really, really amazing.
Very heartfelt. I love them all. I don't even play Overwatch, but they're so good.
Yeah, that's the first one I've watched, and I mean, I'm sure they have it on a channel, probably on a playlist. So I'm down to check out the other ones that they've put out. But that one was really dope. So you have that Overwatch still doing their thing. Absolutely. The Persona series has reached a new sales milestone. I think that's at 8.5 million units sold, packaged and digital total across 13 total editions. The series first launched back in 1996. And also financial results. What is this for? I think this is Sony. This is 4.2 million units to retailers this quarter, bringing up the lifetime of the PlayStation sales. This is the PlayStation stuff. 67.5 million units shipped. First thing it was Persona at 8.5 million. Any comments on those two things?
Still want to play Persona. Still
Persona's
on the backlog.
Really Persona is really dope. I'm really grateful for that. It's pretty dope. So you have that. LA Noire, you may need, according to this information that we recently saw, it doesn't fit on the Switch, so you need an external, you need a micro SD to play the LA Noire version for the Switch. So definitely look into that. Also, did see Telltale Games is bringing every episode of its The Walking Dead to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in a single box with new visual enhancements. Any comments on those things?
I'm looking forward to LA Noire. Thankfully, I don't have it on Switch. I'll be getting it on PS4. So I believe that comes out on the 14th of this month as well. I think so.
14th is popular.
I know. It's a very popular date.
14th is popular. Okay. So I guess since we already discussed it, and I think we can actually talk about it now, November, we're going to do 3 shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to stop at 3 in November. So I think for November, while I'm thinking about it, we're going to do this one, obviously, the 12th and the 19th. The 19th, technically, as it stands right now, will be the last show for us in the month of November. So I just wanted to share that before I forget. Deadly Premonition added to the Xbox compatibility list. And I think that list is over 400 at this point of digital and disc games. Some around 400. And if you need to download a PDF, you can actually download a PDF of all the games on the website of the Xbox compatibility list. So that's available there. Also, what's happening is the Amazon Prime Video app will be available for download globally through the Microsoft Store. So that's going to be available for the individuals who are currently Xbox One owners, as well as the individuals who are looking forward to getting the Xbox One X, which is out November 7th. Any comments on those things?
No.
Nothing there. Destiny 2, Curse of Osiris. That's a thing that's going to be December 5th. That looks amazing. It actually gave me some Egyptian type feels. when I was watching that whole Curse of Osiris trailer. I don't know if it's the season for that, but I'll just leave it there. But that's definitely an amazing trailer. Going to have the links for that info in the show notes. And last but not least, and certainly not least, is the stuff that's happening with the Xbox One X as you prepare for that for next week. So, actually opening up the particular document right now. Definitely a trailer for. We're going to have a link for that in the show notes. A couple of things you could do is you could pre-download the 4K assets. That's going to be a lot of space. I think one of the things that they did do for this Xbox transition is you can connect the RJ45 between the two systems to push your content from one to another seamlessly, if you want to say that. You'll be able to do that. Back up your settings. Make sure, according to the post, transfer using the network transfer, transferring with the external hard drive. So you have the opportunity, the ability to do those things. Finding It also talks about finding your Xbox One X enhanced games. And there's a lot of listings for those things online. But one of the things that I know that they're trying to do is streamline all the information so you can find it in one place. And I believe that the blog for Major Nelson does a pretty good job on what you need to consider, like even the Xbox Wire information for Xbox related news. So if you need any of that information, you'll find it either at Xbox Wire or Major Nelson's website. So, Xbox One X, Daniela.
I
What are your thoughts on?
I probably won't own one for a while. I would love to. I'd love to one day, but I was trying to Google up and find this information, but I read it somewhere, and I really hate having to say this, but I know I read it. I can't find the original source. So the 4K assets that they were talking about that you can pre-download and everything like that. I know that if you put in a 4K enabled game into your standard Xbox One, it doesn't download those 4K assets to that Xbox. However, the part that I did not like was that if you do have the Xbox One X, it automatically does it because it recognizes, hey, you're an Xbox One X. Here's the 4K assets, which is obviously a pretty big file and pretty big download. But I wish they gave that an option to you to choose to download that if you want it, because if you don't have a 4K TV, there's almost no point of you having those 4K assets. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's just to save the space on your hard drive. I think that should be an option to choose to download that or not, because if you don't have a 4K TV to use that to your full advantage, you're just taking up very valuable space. And when it comes to gaming space, every little bit counts. Every little bit.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you don't have the option of opting out.
Yeah, because it'll recognize, hey, you're an Xbox One X. You're going to have these 4K assets downloaded. But if you put a 4K enabled game into your standard Xbox One or Xbox One S, it'll recognize like you don't have the 4K capability, so I won't download that portion. You'll get everything else that you need. I think it should be an option to opt out of that.
Okay. So you're not going to have one for a while, a year or two out, or what are you thinking?
Whenever it's an affordable option, whether that be a year out, 2 years out, who knows?
When you say affordable, what price range are you looking at?
I'm not even sure.
Okay.
I'm cheap. I'm cheap.
Fair.
If for some reason I find it for $200, which might never happen, sure. But again, I don't have a 4K TV. I don't even have a 4K monitor. So that's another thing why I'm not rushing to get it, because I don't have a 4K TV. I would want to get the full capabilities out of my consoles if I could.
Interesting. Interesting.
You would own it even without it?
It's very interesting right now because I'm in no rush to purchase or acquire. I should say acquire, because there's some individuals who believe that I don't buy anything. So there's a blessing in that. I guess to me it's blessings all around. But there's no rush for me to get the Xbox One X because I'm looking forward to playing new titles, not just Cuphead, as a new title. And although Cuphead is fantastic from what I've seen with how it's been received, I don't think videos does a good job to kind of give you a little bit of context, but I think interacting with the game itself is always, ideal, is the one-to-one experience, that kind of thing. So that looks great. That looks difficult as far as Cuphead is concerned. The enhanced games like Tomb Raider, we had a conversation and an interview about that, which was pretty dope. And all the stuff that they're doing for 4K to prepare for that, that's fantastic. Um, but in terms of what else are you going to do? Okay, PUBG is not an interesting thing for me right now. I understand the appeal, but it's not necessarily a game that's going to fit in my box, in my zone right now. So there's no motivation for me to run out on November 7th to get the Xbox One X to download games, a good portion of compatibility games that I already have on the Xbox One, although they're going to be scaled up to look a little bit nicer. And I think a little bit does it a disservice in what I'm saying. I fully understand that. But at the same time, they're not new titles for me to play. So having said all that, you're looking at least a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years out, unless there's something drastic that happens in the 343 Industries front, right? When's the next Halo? When's the next big game, big thing? So outside of those things, there's no appeal right now. But I do feel what we were talking about before, the marketing excitement for the push for this system is I feel that energy. Like, man, I'm going to be the only one probably that doesn't have it on day one. So when I feel that energy, and I think that the company is doing a great job all the way around to market whatever they're marketing, when I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't have it, I think that's doing a pretty good job. That means you put a lot of money to make sure that I heard it on the radio, I've seen it on the TV, it comes to my YouTube ads, right? My friends are talking about it, and it's like, okay, so I can't escape you from getting in my zone. You're just there, and I think that's doing a great job. So all the stuff that's been coming out, the news, the YouTube videos, the traction for all those things has been amazing. But yet and still, because to some degree, I like to believe I'm self-actualized. It's not in my zone right now because I want a new game. And it doesn't have that right now for me.
Yep, and I agree. Because everything I can get that's available on Xbox or foreseeable in the future for Xbox, I can get on either my PC or I have the option to get it on my PS4, which is my preference. So,
right. And
I
the
still
thing
want to
too,
experience it.
Yeah, the experience. The new shiny thing is always going to be dope. And the thing too that I decided to do, like maybe 6 months or 8 months ago, is I don't listen to any other gaming podcast before I record my podcast, because any thoughts that I may have is going to be what's happening real time in my mind right now. I may feel something completely different after the system releases, but I have vowed that if I'm recording on a Sunday, any gaming podcast that released before this podcast, mine, I'm not listening to it. Or do I want to hear anything about it until I record mine? And that's not being mean or anything like that. I mean, I just wanted to share that with you personally, because I don't know if we ever talked about that before, but I don't. So whatever anybody else is doing on the gaming front, colleagues and all, which I fully respect, I don't listen to their shows until I'm done with mine. So that way I can listen to their perspective of even the same conversation afterwards and be like, I didn't think about that. Right. But if I listen to it, then it would be something on the forefront of my mind, which is not my original thought. Right. So that's where I'm at with that. So that's pretty much all the stuff that we have for episode 377. I definitely wanted to share iTunes review that I recently received by Illmatic1 from the United States. It says, "Love your show, strikes a great balance between social and gaming. Keep up the great work." and I'll continue to support. And then the Twitter, definitely shout out to Illmatic West 81. So appreciate you taking the time to do that. Please share the show with your friends. theshowradio.info/iTunes. That will take you to the Apple podcast page where you can subscribe, or all that information is on theshowradio.info. Any last thoughts, Daniela?
Nope, that's good. And thank you, Elmatic One, for the really nice review. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. That's good stuff right now. Okay, so something that I mentioned really at the top of the show is the push for Patreon. I know that there's content that I want to share with you guys and gals via the Patreon page. I went back just to give you an idea of what was happening. I was going to record something small during the week, but I definitely wanted to have you here to talk about it. There's some things that I want to hold off before I talk about. So the Patreon page, I deleted everything that was there that wasn't serving a purpose, that wasn't intentional, and pretty much rebuilt the page from scratch this past week and a half to have the tiers and the goals and the things that we're striving towards for patreon.com /the show radio. That's where that's at. So we're looking for your support. We're going to start talking about it a little bit more. We also have content that we're planning to release for the patrons, and we're looking forward to doing that whole experience. It's definitely our first run at that, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how that entire process works. The tiers are there, the goals are there, as far as audio goals, video goals, and things that we want to do, even with charities, specifically Charity Water, and also the Pencils of Promise. And those two charities are actually on the page for patreon.com /the show radio. Definitely looking for your support so we can build that and do more. And obviously that would help us fund some of the traveling costs and different things like that when it comes to the events. So I wanted to spend more time talking about it here rather than doing a separate conversation on a separate mini pod throughout the week. So Daniela, let's definitely open it up to you. Share your thoughts on that, and then we can begin closing out.
It's definitely something like new and exciting. I've never had a personal Patreon. So I'm looking forward to, like, where it will take us and where it would bring us, and incredibly humbling for anybody who enjoys what we do and want to help support and encourage us. That's something that's amazing as well. So I'm looking forward to it, especially, I'm always about the personalizing stuff. So I think some of those tiers are really cool because, there's some content that we'll make specifically for those tiers and tailored for you guys. So I think that's really awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, more work for us.
I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I guess it is work, but I mean, it's fun work though, and it's exciting,
Yeah.
and it's more like we do the show for everybody, and even on Twitch, I try to make it as enjoyable of a viewing experience for everybody, and to be able to do this with Patreon, to have something that's more tailored for people, and it makes them feel good to have something that's that just for them. It makes me feel good too. It's just nice.
Yeah, we definitely got some ideas for the exclusive content. I'm excited about it. It's definitely different to be even more intentional with specific content. So yeah. So thanks for tuning in. Please consider supporting our Patreon. Daniela, the floor is yours. Close out.
Oh man, what's tricky is that there's nothing for me to go off of. You deleted. I can't.
Yeah, I just structured the whole thing, right?
Yeah, you did. You took away the whole thing. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching, or even if you're watching after the fact or listening after the fact, thank you and appreciate you downloading us. Be sure to keep up to date with all of our posts and information by checking us out on www.theshowradio.info. You can also subscribe to us on your favorite podcatchers at theshowradio.info /listen. You can check out Andrew and you can tweet at him at Uriah, URIYYA. And that's it.
Thanks, guys. Miss DJM at Miss DJM. Definitely check her out. We're out, and we'll talk to you guys soon next week.
Yep.
Peace.
Bye, guys.